But welcome into episode 2. Today we're going to be talking about adapting to Final Fantasy, the switch from WoW. So, Russ, we kind of covered, obviously, a lot of things in episode 1, just a whole range of stuff. It was more of anything just like a splurge of just, oh my god, the world and the content and
So
the
much,
combat and just everything, right? But today the plan is to focus a little bit more refined, closer locked in, and the actual like tangible switch of things. And then of course we'll open it up to Q&A, and then people can, if they have any stuff that they want to talk about, we can do that. But yeah, Russ, first of all, how are you doing? How have you been since the last episode?
Yeah, I'm good. Chilling with it. Making a lot more progress on the MSQ now. My chat would disagree, but I think I've been when I get down to it and down and dirty with the MSQ, we pump. Like we go hard. I have like specified MSQ pump days, right? Followed by a little bit more of a slacking off chilling day. So it's like I'm doing it in bursts, short bursts, and
Yeah.
we've just got up to we've just arrived in a new zone which has a big lake in it, like Don Radon or something. I can't remember. We've just seen the Empire with a big mech machine thing, and done Garuda.
Don, are you talking about Modona? Modana.
Modona, that's it.
Modona,
Modona,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Modona. That we just got there. And then as soon as we got there, we like flash mobbed some poor sprout that we found in the game. Everyone came over, and I was like, let's just go to this random sprout. They're not in the stream or something. Then we just started dancing with them, and then and then they came to the stream. And was like, what the hell's going on? It was so funny.
Careful you don't
Yeah,
get banned in this game, Russ, because I know you're used to getting banned, you and your community,
yeah,
so
yep.
careful.
I am used to getting banned. Blizzard. They don't like community stuff, I guess. But no, I'm good. Yeah, really enjoying the game still, and yeah, we'll probably get into it a little bit later. But yeah, it's completely like opened my eyes with like how I'm gonna go forward with gaming as a whole. So we can probably touch on that a little bit later. But
Yeah,
yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
good. How are you?
Yeah, you good? Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
well, like you say, just continuing some of the MSQ stuff. I guess we're kind of touching on like the first question of the day, but basically where are we up to in the MSQ and what have we been doing?
Oh,
But yeah, I've just finished Coils. I've just finished
yeah.
Coils, min item level, blind prog, like all that stuff. So that was really cool. I had my little brother, which for those who have been following like my journey through FF, my little brother just randomly started playing, didn't even tell me he was going to play, and then we bumped into him in game and everything, right? And then I was like, he got to level 50 at the same time as me, so it was like, oh, let's do the raids together. So he's been jumping in on some of the bosses. He's not been able to do the full thing because he has like an actual real job, but he's been jumping in on some of the bosses, which has been really cool. And we got the final boss, which I won't name, but we got the final boss, T13,
Yeah.
on Tuesday, I believe. So
Mhm.
just finished Coils, finished all my optional dungeons, kind of done all the instance content. Now I'm doing the patch, the post ARR patch content is where I'm up to, but just obviously continuing having an insanely good time in this game, and then yeah. But what about you? I know you obviously touched at where you're at in like the MSQ. You just got to Modona
Yeah.
and stuff, but anything else that you want to like update with as well, and other stuff that you've been doing?
Yeah, so as I said, I kind of, been doing it in bursts and stuff, but I've just got to the point now where I've collected my sixth Warrior of Light crystal.
Yep.
I still don't really know the significance behind them. It hasn't really gone into that, but we fought Garuda, and that was cool. Reunited Sid with Biggs and Wedge, and
Mm-hmm.
or Wiggs and Bedge, and
Mm-hmm.
we vibed out a little bit to Sid's theme tune, which is an absolute banger, by the way. Next to a campfire, that was great. That was cozy times. And then yeah, we went to Modona. We saw obviously that I feel like stuff is kicking off now. It's just got to that part where we're like, okay, go see the beast tribe. Oh, you got a primal, and then it's like do this like 3 times, and then everything just happened. Like it's like, oh, like killed Garuda, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, so that was cool. Another primal down, and then it's like they all rezzed. She like summoned them all in, and then Gaius shows up, and he's like, yo, take this. Just like
Gaius von
drops this.
Balsac.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Von Bolsack. He drops like a mech from the sky. It just like starts one-shotting the Titans and the Primals and stuff, and I'm just like, what is going on? And then yeah, and then just everything just starts kicking off. Um, and yeah, it just feels like I've like people started saying in my chat like, oh, you finally got to the good part in ARR. Like it's finally starting to do stuff now. So apparently I've only got like 15 quests or so to go until I'm finished. So I should finish
Okay.
2.0 on Monday. So that should be fun.
Yeah.
Um, really have no like have I mean, I have a slight inkling of what could happen. Like, I'm assuming we're going to face off against the Empire and that mech thing, but
I mean,
I
yeah. Do
don't
you
think.
like? By all means, that could actually be quite fun because I've obviously never experienced anyone being behind me in the story.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
want to
yeah.
like speculate a little bit on what you think's gonna
I can
happen, and I'll just
speculate.
yeah, go
Yeah,
for it,
yeah, I
go
can
for it.
speculate. Obviously, no one in either chat can like should like
Yeah.
spoiler or confirm or deny. Um, so they said that the mech, that thing, the weapon, I guess. I don't think they've said that it had a name, but they said it was growing like stronger and stronger with each primal that it was devouring, right? So obviously it just triple killed. So it's getting really strong. And then we've got Gaius is doing his thing. We've got the other couple shady fellows like Nero and stuff who we saw like very early on. I've seen that he has like one of those like third eyes as well, like Sid has. So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
interested, and I know that Sid has like a bit of a heritage with the Empire. I think they took him in when he was like an orphan or a kid or something as well. So there's like something going on there, some kind of similarities. But I think probably what I'm imagining is going to be like the last boss of ARR is probably that mech in some capacity. But I don't think it's like the last of what we're going to see of the Empire. I think it's going to be like a bit of a Team Rocket situation, like blasting off again, and they're going to come back and do all this. So I imagine that'll be like the base ARR thing because obviously all this storyline was in the game before the patches came out, right? So
Hmm.
that would be some closure for like this, and then I have no idea what to expect with the actual like ongoing story through the patches. I feel like Alfie's a little bit sus.
Okay.
I feel like he's got a bit of an ulterior motive going on. He's always a bit rushed to he's saying stuff like, oh, this wasn't how it's supposed to happen, and like we don't have enough time and stuff like this. So I feel like there's something going on there, but I have no idea what. And also his sister's like completely disappeared off the face of the earth as well. So
Yeah, like
I've
where's his sister, chat? Like
yeah,
where is she? Crazy.
Trush. I don't know.
Who knows what
But
she's doing?
no. So that's all a bit not sure what to think of that, but I do think he's a little bit sus.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, like that's kind of where I'm at with speculation. But I should finish Monday, so it'll be nice to get that closure, and then I can kind of do what you've been doing, like going into coils. I definitely want to try
Yeah,
min eye level, like
you
see what I'm
have to
doing.
do coils blind. The midnight
Yeah,
level
yeah.
thing, and like you can maybe adjust some things here and there, but just go in blind. You
I
have
think
to.
we'll start min eye level no echo, and then like maybe we'll turn off the no echo because then I think you get like a buff or something, right? So
I think actually doing the turning off min item level is better than turning off no echo because like
okay,
if you turn off min item level, you just get scaled to like you just don't get scaled down quite as far, but you still get scaled down.
right,
So
right.
I think, but it depends boss to boss. Some bosses are
Yeah,
jank, like depending
you
on
know,
which one you do. But just
we
talk
might
to your
get to like
chat
a hard
and
wall.
yeah.
Yeah, we might get to like a hard wall and then be like, all right, well now we need to kind of because like does min eye level it doesn't like everyone gets scaled down to the appropriate level anyway, right?
Yeah,
It's not like you have like level 90s coming in just one shotting and stuff.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. That's
You
good
can
at
do
least.
so. You can do unsynced, which is where people come in one shot. That's
Right,
for like gear farming, or you could do like just nothing, where it's not min item level. Min item level is literally you get scaled down to the minimum item level possible to kill the boss, and then if
right.
you still get scaled if you don't have min item level on, but just you don't
So
get scaled down quite as dramatically.
okay, so you
So
have like
it's
synced and then synced min eye level is even lower, like a lower sync, right? And then
yeah, and then
no
you have
echo is like an
unsynced.
even yeah. But you'd always do it synced, I guess, or people just come in
Yeah,
randomly
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Like I
one
farmed a
shot.
bunch of the gear sets. If you actually look at my gear right now, I'm wearing like the summoner, like the full. I look sick as hell.
Okay,
But you
full
can
cause,
see
yeah.
like the gear set. So I farmed like that, and then I farmed samurai, and then dragoon as well. So I've got like decked out in some gear. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
come heal for you actually on that. If you have space,
Okay.
obviously feel free to take people
Yeah,
from
yeah,
your
yeah.
community. But I'd love to
I
come in
think
and do coils as an astrologer and like try a different role. Yeah.
yeah. How did you do it? Did you take like a different static for each turn, like each fight, or did you just like
We
what's the
we
best way
did
to do it?
so I kind of had people apply on my Discord, so I did like well,
Yeah.
I didn't. My mods are great, so they did it, but they
Clement?
But yeah, Jordan, and then now Matcha as well. They basically put together a channel, and then people could sort of apply with their like they could put a little bit about their experience. So if
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
like never done coils, or they had but not so much, or if they're an experienced raider but had never done coils, etc. So I took like a decent balance. I took what's called like Sherpas, which is I took two the tanks always knew what was going on. And then, like, our healers and DPS, they had high-end raiding experience, but they hadn't done coils necessarily. Or they'd done...
Right.
So, like, UCOB, which is the ultimate... I don't think this is too spoilery. I don't think I'm going to say anything that's too bad. But it's, like, a combination of some of the bosses in coil. So they'd done, like, some of them, but not all of them. And then we took the same group every time... And then whenever we needed to swap people out, say people had stuff to do, then I'd like just take from a list of consistent people who were normally there to help out. So we had a high level of consistency, but we were flexible with bringing different people in as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I think like I mentioned it in my Discord yesterday, and people were like, "Oh, like I never finished it. I tried a couple. I got to turn 5 or turn 6 or something like that. But I'm a Savage Raider and stuff like that. So like I wanted to bring like a good spectrum of different abilities, right? Like some people who are like ultimate gamers, and some people who are just trying it. Some other people could be blind. I'm obviously going to go in blind, but it's nice if some people aren't blind, but they just don't tell me what to do. It's like
exactly
let me work it out. Like they can at least move their character not being blind and whatever, and knowing what's going on. So at least it relieves a bit of pressure on the fight as a whole. But then it's just down to me. Like I'm the one causing the wipes for the most part, and it's kind of like I want to be the weakest link, because then I feel like when I get up there, that it's gonna be a lot easier.
Yeah, it's really interesting though. There's like a little bit of jankiness in coils. We've gone on a tangent with coils now, but I think it's interesting, so we'll keep going. Like, chat if you're bored, just tell us to hurry up. But coils is kind of, it's weird because of the midnight level and no echo thing. So there's a weird situation where they've done some tuning since then. So they've removed some of the toolkits from healers and tanks, but then there's also new jobs that didn't exist back then that are now exist, and then also damage is different. So like it's actually tanks can get crit, and you just don't know when they're going to get crit, so they'll just fall over and they didn't actually do anything wrong. So you can wipe sometimes that, which can be frustrating when you know all the mechanics and you're just like, all right, let's just get a good pull, everyone play well, and then you just die. You like wipe to just a tank getting crit. But then also healers, it's super heal intensive apparently, and I'm going to find out for myself. Obviously that'd be really cool, but it's quite heal intensive. So sometimes you can know all the mechanics and everyone can execute, but you just sort of have weird jankiness, and some of the mechanics are just weirdly jank as well. But yeah, there'll be some times where you have all the mechanics figured out, and feels really good when you have all the mechanics figured out, and you're like, all right, let's just get a good pull, let's kill this boss. It's
exactly. It's like
really good.
You're actually like going in for the kill at that point. And you're like almost waiting for the stars to align, like you said, with the crits and stuff. No defense cap, by the way, on the tanks there.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know all the sort of. That's why I want to come in and heal, because I want to know what's going on and what toolkits are available and stuff. But when it comes to tanks, I mean, they have invulns. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can just get a tank to invuln some stuff. But yeah, there's some good stuff with coils. So absolutely, you have to do it. For sure,
I 100% will.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking for as many possible distractions as I can at level like 50 and ARR before I can go into Heaven's Sword, and then I'll
level every crafting for like
not
profession.
Not to that extent. No,
Yo,
every job at 50, every crafting at 50. Yeah.
We should do a podcast episode. Apparently, ocean fishing is really cool. We should both make it our mission to level fishing at one point, and then we can go and do a podcast episode on like a fishing boat or something. I think that would be really funny. That would be really cool.
Can you take as many people as you want on this, or is it only a set?
I don't know. No idea.
We'll find out.
So you kind of answered like one of my kind of intro-y questions there, but I was gonna say like any huge moments that have happened to you, like for you whilst you've been, since last time we spoke. You sort of mentioned about the big mech devouring all the primals, which is really sick because you've just spent weeks like farming these or like killing these primals, and then this guy just comes in and bap bap bap. Shit. Okay. But anything else, or was that just like your big moment? That's fine if that is. It's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, I think that was a big moment for me. Like, obviously, there was some cool stuff in like Koathas, and as well, I guess like side tangent to the MSQ is has been doing like the Dragoon quest line and stuff, getting
Hmm.
my armor set for Dragoon as well, like learning about the story, and I think I really like the stories about like the job stories and the job quests and stuff. I know like some of them aren't like super fleshed out, and some of them I think they turn them into like role stuff later level I think, but up until wherever I think it's like level 70 you've got like your actual job quest line. I feel like the story's like relatively fleshed out. I've enjoyed learning about like uh the Azure Dragoon and Estinian and
I've
like
just met him for my
yeah,
Dragoon quest. Like just
right,
met
right.
Estinian, I think it is the
Yeah,
Azure Dragoon. Yeah, I've like
yeah.
just met him, so I'm also doing that for Heaven's Ward. So it's good that you're
Okay.
doing it now as well. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, like I'll try not to spoil anything, but it just goes into detail about like a dragon. I think they might mention it. Nidhogg he's called, and
I think I've heard that
it's
name at
like
some point, but I don't know
yeah.
them. Yeah.
So it's just like this big worm, I think, and it caused some havoc at some point, I think, and it's like a sleeping dragon that keeps reawakening, and like causing havoc basically. And just like learning about that lore and stuff is just like really cool, and like how it's relevant to dragoons stuff with the
Mhm.
eye, because like I think you're probably at the part if you've met Estinian, it's about like the eye, and whoever holds the eye is the Azure Dragoon and stuff. So that's why Estinian is. Um, and then yeah, it's just kind of like expanding on that and going deeper and like getting your armor set. I assume every job has an armor set and stuff as well, but it's like been really nice to collect mine as well.
Mhm.
Because it just looks awesome. It's like pretty much why I picked Dragoon as well. Like the armor set just looked so cool.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah. The
and then obviously
Coils
too.
Dragoon set looks really good as well when you get to see that. It looks
Okay,
sick. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um.
Um,
Oh yeah, gone.
but yeah, no, that's been like big moments like leading up to it because I feel like you have to wait every like 5 levels to like get to the next kind of like oh we get like a
Yeah, it's kind of nice. It's
little
those little
snippet of the
wins, isn't
story
it?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I've
Mhm.
enjoyed I've enjoyed those like small moments like being spread out, and I've been doing my warrior and stuff as well, and becoming a warrior has been cool as well on the side.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, like just some of the dungeons are really good, especially like the optional ones and stuff like that. But I guess they're not like big moments. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean for me in terms of like my big moments, it's just literally been doing coils.
Royals, yeah.
There's a lot of really good like story payoff, a lot of questions sort of get answered. There's just so much there to unravel, but obviously I'm going to do my best to not like spoil anything, but I'm just saying, yeah, there's
Yeah,
some
yeah.
really big moments, really good payoff, great cinematics, great bosses. So for me, I think T12, and I'll be interested to find out what your favorite boss ends up being, but T12 was my favorite boss to do in the whole raid.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
even actually more than T13, which is interesting probably for some people, but I love T12. That was really cool. And then, yeah, I think like I agree with where you're coming from with getting those little wins and like looking forward to that next little leveling bit that you're gonna get.
Mm.
So that's good. And have there been any like general thoughts on your mind whilst you've been playing the last couple of weeks? Any things that have sort of been coming up for you that you are just keep coming back to? Things that you wanna that you've had at present whilst you've been playing?
Um, but just like with the game or with the story in
Yeah,
particular.
like well, yeah, just like anything with the game, or like mainly the game, really. Just
Um,
like things that have been on your mind whilst you've been playing through.
yeah, just small things that keep popping up really. Like I've just kept noticing like these little like tidbits, like these small things, and I really appreciate the attention to detail that's kind of there. Like you just I can't think of like a particular example right now, but there's been so many times where I've just found myself saying, and I just really like how they put that little cherry on top of all these little things throughout the game. It's like
Hmm.
it could just be like a small reference to something, or like just a little extra kind of like motif that's in like a piece of music, or like even just like a line of quest text, which is like a little joke and stuff. I know like other games put little jokes in here and there as well, but I feel like there's definitely been a lot of things that I've just been like, "Ooh, that's really nice."
Yeah,
I don't say that very often as well, so like
yeah. What was it again? Can you
I'm
give me that again?
Ooh, that's really nice.
Oh, like when you have a nice
Yeah,
little first sip of a cup of tea. That's
yeah,
what
it's like,
that is.
oh, yeah, like
Nice.
the little like head nod or the
Yeah.
fork shake of appreciation on a good piece of food or something. You're like, you know,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, just the little extra bits. I really appreciate that. So I'm definitely gonna like look for those as well as I go forward, as like in this game and any others that I play as well.
Yeah. Cool. 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 Yeah. I mean, for me, like things that have generally just been on my mind have just been about. Literally, the last like 2 weeks has just been me doing coils, more or less.
Yeah,
So it's just been very much like raid centric, mechanic centric, class designy sort of stuff. So I've been very interested in looking how the fight design has developed. I looked at UCOB as well after we finished with coils, and
right.
looking at how things have developed and the bosses, how they've developed over time. That's just very much been on my mind. Also, criterions. We've been talking a lot in my stream about criterions and like end game dungeon design and stuff. So that's very much been on my mind. Awesome, excellent. So also, by the way, Russ, before you finish ARR, have you watched the 1. I think you have watched it. Have you watched the 1.0 trailer?
I watched everything.
Yeah. What haven't you watched?
Yeah, no, last Friday I did the big no clip stream watch along session where we watched all 3 no clip parts plus the 1.0 trailer where they're like, I think it's about like guild levies and stuff, isn't it? Like that's the card things that they're holding up.
Oh yeah.
And then also the end when the servers went down at the end of 1.0 as well. So we watched like 5 things all in one big session, which was really good fun, like a super chill cozy stream where we just chatted a lot basically. But it was really nice, like learning about all the history and stuff like that. So I highly recommend what you did.
Yeah.
I assume you're intending to watch that at some point, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I have watched the 1.0. At least I believe I have. Yeah. What did you want to say about it?
I was just gonna say, I think it's there's like some cool. Obviously, like when you finish ARR, they'll yeah, I mean, you know how a story wraps out before the end of an expansion. Like they'll wrap up some expansion things. Some things will continue on to the next one. There'll be new things that get introduced. Like it's the whole thing, right? But there will be some cool things in the 1.0 trailer that are also like involved in the ending. So yeah,
I have started to see that actually already. Like, so I told you I just got to, what was it called, Modona?
Yeah, Modona.
So there's that big like castle with a dragon corpse on the top of it, and I think I saw something like that happen in the 1.0 trailer, because like I got there and I was like, I feel like I've seen this. It might not be it, but like I feel like I've seen that. And then the little like things that the Empire have, the little like flying chimneys and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what
like,
those are.
Yeah, and then you've got like oh yeah, there's also one thing I only just remembered, like La Brea was like standing on one of those, like watching when the mech was like killing the primal. So I'm a bit like, I'm not sure if he's with the Empire, because I feel like he's not, because he's always been like lurking in the distance watching. Well, he's like a bit more associated with like the Warrior of the Light kind of whole like side of it, and then the Empire's just like doing their thing, trying to save the world for the greater good and whatnot, right? But like I believe those like chimney things with wings and wheels were part of the Empire, so he's like on one of those. So I'm like, is he affiliated with them, or is he just kind of like hitching a ride? I'm not really sure. So.
Those are definitely some of the questions I had when I was playing ARR, and like you said, like when I was moving towards, like when I was in the position you were in, I was thinking the exact same thing. I was thinking, right, I think the culmination of ARR is either going to be us dealing with like the Empire or dealing with the Asians. Like it was, I was like, it's going to be one of those two things, I think, but I didn't know if it was like which one it was going to be, or if there's like a curveball that we don't know. Because again, it's like we know that there's more expansions. It's like not everything's necessarily going to get solved in one expansion, right? Because everyone says about ARR laying the foundation, and I mean, I've not even finished ARR, right? So like there's still mysteries to me, but it's like how much is going to stop here and how much is going to continue on forward. That's kind of the big question when it comes to those two big threats that we have right now, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Just like it could go in so many which way directions for me at this point. Like I said, I have like a little bit of speculations. But I think it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be like partly Empire, and then like maybe we follow the Asians through the patches afterwards potentially.
Okay.
But and then and then Empire will probably, I imagine, will keep cropping up through the other expansions. I imagine it's just like your classic Team Rocket situation, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, for sure. The thing as well is I think they've done really well in the story of just randomly, like you'll start doing something that's just benign, and then randomly they'll just be like, there's a primal, it's here, and then 3 minutes later you're fighting a primal, and you're like, oh wait, We were
Yeah.
going down a completely different avenue. So they're
Yeah.
really good at just introducing a sudden threat. And again, that's where you don't always necessarily know exactly what's going
Yeah.
to come up next. But of course, by the time we have our next podcast episode, I'm sure you will have finished this, like Realm Reborn, and maybe even some of the patch content, or who knows, and then we'll be able to have
Yeah.
a deeper conversation about it. But getting
Yeah.
into the main bulk then of today,
Mm-hmm.
so we want to talk about adapting to Final Fantasy. Now, my first like big overarching question is going to be, what things have you struggled with getting to grips with coming into a new MMO? Obviously, we have MMO experience from World of Warcraft, both of us, but coming into Final Fantasy, what has been the thing that you've been, or any things that you've been struggling to get to grips with? And just to give you a kind of a moment to think about it as well, for me, I've got a couple things which I've noted down, but the combat is something that I'm still like figuring out. That's one.
That's what instantly came to my mind.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
snapshotting, and sometimes the snapshotting works differently. Like sometimes, as far as I'm aware anyway, maybe I might be wrong, but snapshotting, sometimes the animation gets snapshot. So even though like the cast is finished, you have to wait until the boss does the animation, and then you have to
Yes.
snapshot the
Oh.
animation. But then sometimes you have to snapshot the cast. Oh, are you thinking of sidecasting?
Well, that's another thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But no, I was thinking about telegraphs and stuff.
Right, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, speak on it. Go for it. Go for it if there's some stuff.
Well, just that like, it's quite it confused me for a while with like, the telegraph goes down and you have like however long to move out of it and stuff. And as soon as the telegraph disappeared, you're actually safe to walk back in there. But the
Yeah.
animation for the actual ability hasn't gone through yet. So I'm always like second guessing myself, like, oh, I don't like, I haven't seen the bad happen yet, so I don't feel like I can walk back in there. But sometimes the abilities are like tightly close together that they kind of force you to just trust in the animation not gonna hit you, right? Like as soon if you've dodged the telegraph, you're safe and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's really weird because like usually on WoW the telegraph goes down and then it will shoot like a missile and then you have to watch the missile and it's when the missile like lands that's when the damage happens. So if you'd moved out of telegraph and then moved back in, you're still actually not safe. It's just like a pre-warning kind of thing. Whereas in Final Fantasy, it's just like, okay, telegraph's gone, I can move back and I can do whatever I want
Yeah.
now.
Sometimes
So
as
that
well,
took a while.
I'll hold like a bee's dick away from the actual outline of the like telegraphing, the like orange
Right.
circle, and
Yeah.
your character, the hitbox isn't the whole of your character. Like I'm used to playing Feral
It's
Druid
like,
on WoW, where you actually have a longer like hitbox. It seems because
yeah.
you're horizontal. Yeah, there's some weird stuff that happen. I don't know the exact like mechanism of it, but because you have a longer body, I think your hitbox can sometimes hit you when you're not actually in
Really?
something. Something
Okay.
like that. Maybe I'm just, or maybe it just skewed because
That
you're
sounds like a cope, man.
horizontal
I don't
rather than a
know. I wasn't
vertical.
in here, I swear. It could be a ping issue.
It was my hind legs. Come on, Blizzard. Yeah, but this is like it's a pixel in the middle of your character. So
Yeah.
sometimes like your foot is you're like you're doing some samurai animation and you're like hitting and your foot's like way over here and
Right.
your foot's in the thing, but because the pixel I guess is like here,
Yeah, center of mass,
you don't get hit. There's a demonstration of a little bit of samurai combat for anyone who wants
That's
it.
good. That's good.
You don't get hit and then you sort of stand there for a second and you're like, am I going to take damage? Am I going to take damage? And then you wait to see if you're in it or something. So I've been hit by a few things like that, and then I've gone, I wasn't in that, and actually I probably
My
was.
leg.
Yeah.
My sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I've noticed it as well, because I've been tanking a couple dungeons and stuff. I've been leveling up my warrior mostly just through tanking. So I can play with the chat and stuff like that. Like I like to, do that and play with people when I can. So there's only like a dungeon in the MSQ like every once in a blue moon, it takes it's like 15 quests and then you get a dungeon and stuff like that. So I've been doing like my duty roulettes and I've been doing just like random dungeons really with the guys in chat. And I've been picking up tank and I've been trying to do them on like the higher level I can, so I have the most abilities available to me. It's like the scaling down. Losing those abilities on the scaling does feel pretty bad as well, but it is like meant to be a learning experience, and I think they do a decent job of bringing things in at an okay pace. Like it just feels a bit jarring when you first open the game and you're like, oh, this is my life for the next 4 hours. I have one ability kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then when I think back to like classic WoW, you just auto attack mobs anyway, and everyone's okay with that. So it's not like too different, and the amount of time you actually spend in combat is a relatively low percentage of your time.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't be like like a reason to quit, I don't think, for a lot of people, but for some it could be. But
Yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting. Like I think it's understandable why they do the scaling and you lose some of your
Mm.
abilities and stuff. Like I've had this conversation with chat a bunch, and it's understandable why, but it is definitely like jarring, right? That's the whole point of the conversation, is the adapting to this and getting used to like, oh, I'm gonna have fewer things now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's also it could make for kind of interesting content and a different way to play as well, though, because like for example, if you're playing at level 90 at like the full max endgame, and then you go back and do like coils, or you go back and do like, I don't know if the ultimates are scaled down or whatever. I don't really know much about them.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually.
I've
Mm.
specifically avoided pretty much everything about ultimates for the time being. But I guess you like, when you're scaled down, you kind of have like a different rotation. You got to like relearn a different rotation slightly within the same class. So like in a way, I could see that keeping it fresh for some people as well. Like it could be a positive rather than just like, oh, I can't do my normal rotation and stuff. It could be like, oh, this could be like, how can I theory craft how to do the best rotation for the what I have now, like the hand I have. How can I play the best with the hand that I'm given at level
Yeah.
50 or 60 or 70 or whatever? So
Yeah,
could
like
see
when
it
I
being
was
a
learning
positive thing.
Samurai, that was exactly it. People were trying to tell me the rotation that you do at like level 90, but
Yeah,
I'm level 50, so I don't have
yeah.
access to some of those things. So, like, I apply my dot differently at level 50, I believe, than I would at level 90. And
Mm,
I think that's the case anyway, because you have a few extra things
yeah,
at your disposal. And so I'm like weaving in like throws and stuff like that as well at the start of combat, whereas at max level you wouldn't do that. So yeah, there's a lot of
yeah,
things that you have to adjust to. I also think as well, like a lot of the game systems took some time for me to get used to, and the way in which, actually, yeah, just like speaking about some of the game systems, things like getting used to the menu systems that you have, and then the glamour system,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I still kind of struggle with getting all that right. So that's been something I've been trying to
It's
learn and
because there's a
figure
lot of
out.
sub menus, aren't there? It's like
Mhm.
you've got your escape menu where you kind of just think like a lot is located, and then in WoW we have like the character panel, the quest log, and stuff like that as these things. But these are like, you click those in the bottom right, and then there's like another 12 options pop
Yeah.
up, and it's like, oh my god, like how many things are there? Like you got a tab for like
Mhm.
gold saucer, and then that has like 6 tabs within it as well, and all that stuff. So yeah, there's definitely a lot. Like I haven't even touched half the menus yet, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I
The
think there's a lot of like optimization to do as well.
the nice thing is on stream is that you can, if you're not sure about something, like I
Yeah,
normally when I was
yeah,
younger, I used to get really like, oh, I don't know what this does. I'm just gonna ignore it. I don't want to have to try and think about it. But when you're streaming, you're just like, oh, I'm gonna try and figure this out, and then people from chat help you. So you learn these
yeah,
things a lot quicker, which is kind of nice to
yeah.
have.
Streamer privilege.
Yeah, it is streamer privilege, but it also encourages you and like motivates you to want to learn it, because you like, I don't want to get to level 90 and still not know how to do like get a retainer or something. You wanna learn
Yeah,
how to do
I
these
still haven't done
things.
my retainers.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, that'll
No.
be fun for you because you actually get to design it yourself. Like you get to
Yeah,
design the lad that's gonna be your retainer.
that's
So
cool.
that'll be another 4 hour like stream for you.
Oh, yeah,
So
I didn't even think about that. I
yep.
can like, you can design like everything about the
Yeah,
character.
yeah, yeah, and you get two of them, I
Oh,
think. So that's like 8 hours of
ooh,
content.
that's
Hmm.
huge. That's
Yeah.
huge for me.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry, I got you. I got you covered. Are there any other things like for you? I mean, I've got a couple more, but if you have anything that you want to kind of discuss, and then we'll talk about all the things
Uh,
that we have adapted to and things that have been quite nice. But anything else
yeah.
from you on the struggles?
So is the question right now, what have
Like,
have I adapted to, or
what
haven't
have
I?
you struggled to get to grips with? Like, what have you struggled with adapting to when it comes to FF?
Um, yeah, other than the combat, I can't really think of any particular struggles. Not really, to be honest, no.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the whole like UI thing is a little overwhelming, but I haven't really put that much time into it as well, and I think that like the potential that it has is really good, right? Like, having that all baseline in the game, it's basically like just the same as I can't be bothered to make UIs on LVUI in WoW. Like, the same reason I just haven't played around really with my bars too much.
Mhm.
I haven't really keybound everything optimally and stuff yet, so I was just like, I'll do that at level 50 because like it doesn't really. I'm still playing the rotation correctly. I'm just like doing it a little bit awkwardly, like all my buttons are in weird
Yeah.
spots, and I just can't really like. It probably only take me like 3 minutes to sort it out, but I just can't be bothered. I'm like, I'll just like put this over here. I got like Control 7 to do like a defensive, and like I can't even reach that. Time to bring both hands onto the keyboard to hit that one and stuff. It's like, but like I could just. I've got all my keybinds in my head from WoW, but I just haven't put them in because I'm like, I don't know how many abilities I'm gonna end up with. So it's
Yeah.
really like I don't want to get used to a keybind on one thing and then be like, oh, I actually prefer this thing on it later. Like
Yeah.
now where do I put this? Like I rather just like get a good selection of abilities down first and then go into keybinding and
Yeah.
whatnot.
See, I actually liked the hood. I think the hood was the opposite for me. It helped me. It helped my like time adjusting to the game easier because I could just put everything where I wanted it to,
Oh, I
and
like
sort
it.
of
I just
like
haven't experimented with it too
yeah,
much.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, for me, it's just been like, oh, I can put everything where I want it to go now. And I've
Mm.
got some people make fun of me because my action bars, like, I mean, the camera on my screen is kind of blocking it right now, but like, I've shifted. I've all my action bars are like level, and then I have one action bar that is over to the left just by one box, and it's like
Oh,
everyone gets really stressed out about it because it's just 1 point over, but it's like a weird mental thing with what I'm used to, where like a button should
oh,
be.
on your keyboard and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, so people play me about that one, but it is what it is. Yeah,
yeah,
for me, the other thing like that I've been, it's sort of in the combat scene of things, but another thing that I've like sort of struggled with is the rigid nature of Final Fantasy, where everything is a fine dance, right? I say Final Fantasy is a dance, World of Warcraft is jazz. World of Warcraft is, and just adapt to it, like something happened, a mechanic happened, just figure it out. Like everyone just move in a direction. If you got if you got 4 debuffs, just move in a direction and then spread and figure it out. Whereas Final Fantasy is like, no, we will do clock positions. You go into a new boss and immediately everyone puts the markers down. It's I'm melee 1, I'm melee 2, I'm ranged 1, I'm ranged 2. And
right,
like
right.
everyone already knows where to go,
Predetermined. Yeah, yeah.
and I had a lot of friction. I don't want to say like friction necessarily, but there are a lot of times where I'm trying to communicate to our team in Coils and say, "Hey guys, if this happens, just you be intelligent. If you're the closest one to this thing, then just move into it. If you're the second person, then move away from it and let the person who's in front of you go first. If you both get a debuff, just adapt. If one of you's closer, to the edge of the room, like that's up and to the left, then you go up and to the left. The other person can duck out and go just to the left or something." And
Yeah.
everyone's there, like, no, 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 no.
I
Sorry,
need my clock.
we need the clock and we need a marker, and that person's gonna go stand on C, and then everyone's gonna move away from C, and I'm just like, bro, just freestyle it, and they're like, no, I can't. So that for me has been difficult adapting to my group and also to the game and what's expected from you
Yeah.
in the game. But it's been fun to learn. I still think I'm right, but I'm
Mhm.
willing to let other people have their opinions too. So I've
I want,
grown as a
I
person.
wonder how it is with like like the Echo guys coming in and doing the boss's blind and stuff. I wonder if they have adapted and like taken now the whole clock position thing, or if
Apparently they have.
they do it like you and they're just like, oh, we'll just do it the WoW way, where it's just like we just make it work.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
just
imagine
freestyle.
they've done like a lot of raids at this point, right, together. So maybe they've just kind of taken the FF terminology and the way of doing things and whatnot.
I've heard well, this is what my chat told me. Again, I don't know how like accurate it is, but they told me that the Echo guys have taken some of what they've learned and tried to apply it now to WoW. It's like helped them think about how they can deal with certain types of mechanics in WoW with a Final
Yeah,
Fantasy mindset. But apparently, obviously, going in, a lot of people in chat have told me it's really fun to watch the Echo guys do their prog because
with a different
they
mindset.
do it with a different mindset. And everyone in Final Fantasy
Mm.
is like, why are they doing it like this? They should do it like this.
Right,
This is a
right.
standard response to this type of mechanic. So that's kind of fun.
Do you think it would be beneficial for high-end Final Fantasy raiders to try out high-end WoW raiding and vice
For
versa as
sure.
well? Like it would just make the overall caliber of the players kind of better, right?
You're only going to learn from trying out something new, right? Like
Yeah.
you're only going to improve as a player. I've definitely improved when it comes to WoW by playing Final Fantasy. Like, I'm just a smarter player. And it's not like Final Fantasy is a more difficult game. That's what happened. It's like a case of, I mean, believe that if you, look, chat, if you want to do that.
Make Final Fantasy players better than WoW players?
Yeah, like, WoW bad, Final Fantasy good. No, if you want to believe that, then that's fine. I don't care. But it's a case of having played a different MMO. I think the big thing from Final Fantasy that I've learned is going into a piece of content blind. When you go in with a guide, you just, there's no thought process. It's
I'd love to do that on WoW.
Yeah, if I could go into a WoW raid blind, it would be in so good, because you could do it even just on heroic difficulty, and it would be game changing, because you'd go, wow, we have no idea what's gonna happen next, and you struggle through it. So you're missing out.
My old raid leader, but I kind of did that with WoW sometimes.
Same. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Some of the bosses.
Yeah, we were just ahead of our time coming over to Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, no, I definitely think that you can always learn something else from the other side of the fence, and learn and experience something new. It's like different cultures in real life, right? Like, you can always learn something from the other person.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. But I think the last thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of struggling to get to grips with Final Fantasy is, like, coming over from WoW. It's been hard for me to play Final Fantasy 14 and get used to, like, all the add-ons and the mods that Final Fantasy players are using over here. They've got the chat bubbles, they've got the boob sliders, rotation helpers, DPS meters. Like, there's so many add-ons and mods in Final Fantasy 14. And coming over from WoW, it's just been very strange for me having to adapt to that. Like, have you felt that as well, Russ?
I mean, I've not tried any, or, like, I've heard about all the different possible ones, but I've not tried any except for what's it called, meh something. No,
yeah, mad something. Yeah.
No, I've just seen that in a lot of the adventure plays. It's like meh herendium or something like that.
Yeah. And
like,
and then
yeah, and then I'm like, oh, I see, that's a sussy one.
Yeah, I've seen some sussy stuff.
No, I kind of like the the non-requirement to really have add-ons. I know that you don't really require add-ons leveling up in WoW either, but I'm only looking forward to the lack thereof at the end game anyway. And as streamers, we're not allowed to use them.
I don't want to use them. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to use them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was joking. By the way, I was joking. Obviously, that is a big joke, but I just thought it would be a funny meme question. There are some, like, add-ons and monster, but, like, I'm glad we don't have to use them. It's kind of nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, like the amount of headaches that I've had, like, especially being a raid leader at some points as well in WoW, and you get even more recently. It just feels like it's just add-ons are more of a problem than they solve at this point in WoW. Like, obviously stuff like DBM and bigwigs and stuff is nice, but they could bake that into the game. Let's be real.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, you've got all this, like, weak auras, which is essentially an add-on used to code smaller add-ons within the game. And that just has made this arms race. I'm probably we could probably talk about this for, like, hours and days.
Yeah, that could be a whole episode on its own, just like add-ons
and on raiding or something, right? Like the differences in raiding and stuff. But, like, it's made this massive arms race now with the devs of WoW. So now the devs are trying to, like, because weak auras are so powerful, they trivialize a lot of hard boss mechanics, and then the devs are trying to make even harder boss mechanics to outdo the weak aura creators, and the weak aura creators only have to adapt and do this. So, like, it's just this arms race between the devs and the people who are good at coding weak auras pretty much at this point. And they're just constantly trying to outdo each other, and it just means that, like, everything just goes up and up and up and up in terms of difficulty, to the point where now it's like, even just, like, either casual players straight up can't do it because they're like, well, you don't pay my sub, I'm not going to use add-ons. Like,
you don't pay my sub.
You don't pay my sub. Or they're just like, stuff we had to do in my guild was like, well, we had to just download all the weak aura packages that all the top end guilds use, but they take like 30 minutes or more to, like, set up. You've got to, like, set everything up ahead of time.
I'd leave everything default. Are you kidding me? I'd download the weak aura package that had, like, like 100 weak auras and all this stuff.
Yeah,
Bro, I
yeah,
just leave it default. Wherever it was on my screen. And then if my raid leader was like, hey, did you get the weak aura? I got it. I'm not
yeah,
using it. I'm completely ignoring it, but it's on my
yeah.
screen. Yeah.
Did you do Echo of Neltharion?
Yeah, I was melee, so I always had a consistent
Oh,
spot on that fight. So
yeah,
I never at any point used the weak aura. Like I used it
yeah,
just as a reference point initially, and then once I figured out where they
yeah.
all were, I completely ignored any
Yes, no.
sense of weak aura, and it was fine.
Yeah, we like I was playing range, and you have one of 4 potential spots based on like where you are in the list, which is like
Yeah.
seems to be predetermined. So you could have like realistically like between spot 1, 2, and 3, and then you had to have like a map overlay on your screen. And
Yeah.
it was like the mini zone PvP map, which I don't feel like we've used before really.
And then
Like
Billy
all of
would
this
always go to the
weird
wrong
tech.
one, and he'd go, "Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I thought that was 3." And then you're like,
yeah, it's
"Billy,
like
we're
yeah,
on wipe
we
100, bro. Like, can you
yeah,
not do
yeah,
numbers? Like the
yeah.
numbers, read the number.
Mm.
You know,
And then on top
Billy."
of that, you've got like the interrupting rotation weak aura that keeps coming back. And like one that particularly annoyed me was the council boss in the end of Shadowlands
Yeah.
raid, Sepulchre I think it was called,
Council of Blood. Yeah.
and
Oh,
uh,
Pantheon.
the 4 Pantheon, yeah, and there was like 2 interrupt rotations while you had to like dodge all these other things, and it's like 4 bosses doing a whole, you know, bunch of mechanics, just this vomit of mechanics, and just horrible. And I remember
Yeah.
like the weak auras to set up on that one took us like 45 minutes, and then we had this guy who couldn't get his interrupt. He couldn't get his interrupt weak aura working right, and then like we're literally like pull 60, and he's like, guys, I'm not sure if this is my interrupt. Mine's saying 87 because he hadn't set it to like reset after like 4
Oh my
interrupts. And he's like,
god.
is interrupt 87 mine? We're like, bro, what are you on about? It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3,
That was
4.
literally what I was gonna say. It's that I hate that with the weak auras, because sometimes you get one weak aura package, right, that your guild leader would give you, and then they change to like a different weak aura package because it was a better one or something. But not everyone of your 20-player roster would get the memo. So like some people would have the old weak aura, some people would have the new weak aura, and they would conflict. And then you'd have some people who are like, I'm doing what the weak aura says, so you would believe them, and then you find out on wipe 100 that actually they've been using a weak aura that you haven't used in 40 pulls, and they're just completely freestyling. And then you have to try and get everyone to uninstall and then reinstall the new one, but then not some people still believe that they're on the right one and they're not, and then like it's another 20 pulls, and then you realize they go, oh, I was on the old one, and you're like, oh my god, like why do we have to do this? And you're ending up just talking about a weak aura for an hour a night instead of just playing the fight. It's horrendous.
We call them weak aura bosses, and like, oh my god, it's the worst, because then after all that, you know, someone will have to miss the next raid or something like that. And you've got to sub someone new in, and then you've got to do the whole thing again, and it screws with everyone else's weak auras and add-ons. And you've got to set everything up from the beginning again, and it changes everyone's order in the list, and then everyone's got to learn their new positions. And it's just like, holy.
So there
I
was
don't miss that at all.
You know, on Echo of Neltharion, there's the point where you have to use Stampeding Roar, and for everyone in chat who doesn't play WoW, you have a movement speed buff that you give to the whole raid as a druid, and it's on like a minute cooldown, 2-minute cooldown, and you have to use it periodically throughout the fight, and you get assigned via a weak aura when you will be using your group-wide speed increase, right? And I would just like, for mine, it would be on the timestamp, and it would be like 22 seconds, 1 minute 22 seconds, 2 minutes 32 seconds, or whatever it was. Like I remember that 1 minute 22 is a correct. That was when my stampede was, and I'd just ignore the weak aura, and I would just remember the time point, and then I would have a little clock on my screen of how long we were in combat, and I would just do it manually, and I just learn. Like, I just do that rather than looking at the note. Because I'm just like, bro, I can't be bothered to deal with some stupid-ass weak aura. Like, I'm just going to learn the fight. I just do it myself.
And, one thing I actually go off a lot is, like, voice lines and, like, certain mechanics happening. So if, like, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is the time that mechanic happens, and I'm, like, muscle memory is just like, okay, well, this is the point where I walk to here, or this is the point where I press this defensive or something. And then sometimes, you know, a lot of people play with, like, game sounds off in WoW. And I really like having at least the boss being like, for the earth and fury, and then you're like, oh, he's doing his fucking ultimate like ability thing. So now I need to know. Now I
Sorry,
I need to go there.
was that one again?
For the earth and fury.
You need a little cough. You need a little cup of tea there, Russ, for your throat.
Yeah.
Is that when you fight? That's when you fight Tataru, right? T13.
Oh, I've seen Preacher's
Oh, I
video. I'm sorry. Yeah.
spoiled
Yeah.
Coils. Russ, I'm so sorry, bro. I was doing such a good job of not spoiling anything. But you just did the voice. It sounded like Tataru. I thought.
Yeah.
Russ, I'm
Sorry.
sorry about that,
Well,
man.
I'm sorry, chat, that now they're not gonna get an authentic reaction pre-watched, I guess.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
You know Tataru's the final boss of Coils, so I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, Russ. You may as well buy a skip now if you want. Yeah, so Russ, that was like a joke question that ended up taking us 20 minutes to talk about, so that's fantastic.
Whoops.
Uh,
We're good at that. We're really good at that.
Whoops.
That's why we were so good at the lunchtime slot for the split raids.
Yeah,
On
honestly, for
PC.
Race World first, when it was just like, hey, can you guys fill because the raiders are AFK for an hour, and me and Russ would just go and talk about random ass stuff. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do then have the follow up. So now that we've spoken about the stuff that we struggled to adapt to coming into Final Fantasy, what things did you feel like you flourished with? What things did you pick up quite quickly? And does it feel more intuitive than any other MMOs that you've played in any way? And, you know, I'll give you time to think about that. So, what things did you pick up quickly and anything that feels more intuitive? For me, I picked up to the art style like very quickly. The combat didn't really like phase me in terms of like a 3-second GCD and the slower combat stuff, because I know for some people they get to level like 20 and they go, oh, I've got 2 abilities and it's a 3-second GCD. Ugh. But for me, I watched a lot of like Final Fantasy intermittently on Discord over the last probably 4 years when CC Lemon has been playing it and stuff and going, oh, check out this boss, check out this thing. I'll have it on my second monitor. And the art style I was already sort of accustomed to a little bit. So for me, it wasn't really a big deal getting into it and getting into the, oh my god, I just saw an upskirt. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, we're gonna get banned. We're gonna get demonetized on YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah. Are you good?
On the iCam?
Yeah, on the old iCam. Careful. So yeah, that I'm still adjusting to actually is the iCam. But yeah, the combat and stuff like it's been fine for me. It's actually really cool when you get up to 50 and you're doing like positionals and you can start adding in like more advanced strategies to your combat over time, and it's really cool actually. But yeah, anything for you, or do you want more time to think?
I feel like, yeah, like you said, I agree with the like global cooldown. Like it's weird because we put combat in the one that we struggled with, like
Yeah,
in terms of
right.
in terms
Yeah.
of like ability wise. But I haven't really felt I thought the 2.5 second GCD thing was actually gonna really bother me, but I basically haven't given it a second thought. I was like, oh, okay, but I feel like I'm always thinking because there's so many combos. It's like you kind of need that thinking time, at least with Dragoons that I've noticed so far. Like it's nice to have that extra slower second, and you've got GCDs as well, so you can be like, oh, I'm gonna queue up that GCD in the next, like the OGCD in the next cooldown. And then it's like, you know, it's like playing Windwalker Monk on WoW, where if you drop your hit combo, it's like really
Yeah.
detrimental and stuff. So if you accidentally make a mistake, you've got to restart all the way back. And right now as a Dragoon, I only have like a 3-second, that is a 3-part combo, but I've heard it's like a 6-part combo, and you have 2 of them at max or something. So I'm imagining that job's gonna get massively fleshed out as well, even further. But like if you know you're on part 5 of your combo and you accidentally hit the wrong button, like because you're rushing and stuff, you always want to be casting right. You never want to be like leaving your global like not on cooldown. So if you accidentally hit the wrong button, you'd have to start a 6-part combo again from like part 1, and you never get that payoff of like part 6 or something. So I actually don't really mind the extra time personally.
Yeah.
And other stuff that I found. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, especially when you're still learning the mechanics, like, and dealing with like slide casting and stuff, having that extra second just to think is kind of nice actually.
Yeah, and then other stuff I found easy to adapt to was kind of like you said, the art style was fine. I've not even really like, you know, I've appreciated it, but I've never been someone to like scrutinize a game over their graphics. I think you know, developers go for a certain style, and that's fine. It is what it is. Like you can be like more appreciative or less, but I'm never gonna be the person to like, you know, baby rage over like, oh my god, it's like this and that, and it's like a weeb game, like all that stuff. It's just like, it's just different. It's just like a, you know, like there's realism and then there's fantasy and then there's cartoon and all that stuff. It's fine for me.
And then there's like hentai and there's like all the different there's all the different ones, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, and then other stuff I found easy.
As I
was,
said that, by
like...
the way, my iCam has just jumped to a bed. Just like, okay, whoa, come to bed, Sai. Sorry, yeah, as you're saying.
um, yeah, and then other things I found pretty easy was, um, yeah, like reading quest text and stuff.
Hmm.
I've never really done that before.
Yeah,
Like
I
in
bet you
WoW,
haven't, you little
yeah,
staller.
in WoW, okay, in WoW it's like you press one button and boom, like whole
Yeah.
quest is nullified. Like you don't need to read it because and a lot of time again add-ons there's like add-ons for like auto accept and auto handing. So you know everyone just speed runs through that stuff, and I was like, oh no. I was wondering like how is it gonna be like reading out every quest to the chat and stuff like that like it's going to be like a different experience, right? But I've actually really enjoyed like coming up with voices. I've been using my little mixer thing to
Do silly voices.
and stuff like that. So I have like a few different
Is
voices
that
that I put for,
Please do
like
that one for Minfilia. That would just be great.
I have like a Gaius voice, and then
Yeah.
I gave like Gaia. I have like that was my Nero voice, and then I have like one for like Gaius, but I turned him into like a chipmunk because I thought it'd be funny. and then and then we gave like all the Empire guys like really funny voices, and then like when you get like the Minfilia on the radio, you can put stuff like
Come in, and like it sounds like an F by a captain.
That's so funny you say that. Okay,
Yeah.
there's a point where that's gonna be you
Yeah.
sound like someone that actually sounds like that in the story, and they say
Yeah.
what you just said. That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
There's like a
Exactly.
point in the story when you're building up to like the end of ARR, and there's like zero voice acting, and then there's just one point where it does voice acting, and it's like static over a radio, and you're like, of all the things that you're spending voice acting budget on, and this is the moment, like why? And it's someone like, come in, and it's all static and shit. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
But yeah, like I found that like way easier than I was expecting to just get used to. My voice had to get used to it a little bit because
Yeah, it's hard talking for 8 hours. Yeah.
talking straight. If I'm not reading quest text, I'm talking to the chat, right? And I noticed that especially as I had like a throat like a throat infection as well when I first started playing.
Yeah.
So my throat just got completely shot in like the first week, and it just like straight up hasn't recovered because I haven't had enough time off to actually like
Yeah.
put actually just rest it fully now. But yeah, it's been nice, honestly, nice to do that, and I'd like to take my time. I think I mentioned it to you the other day as well, like using if I play classic WoW again, I'll put that add-on on which reads the quest text and stuff like that, or maybe even use that. There's an add-on in retail WoW called Immersion. Use that one, which kind of brings it up a little bit in the style that it does in Final Fantasy, where you got to like click through like small text boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
I think WoW could learn a thing or two as well from Final Fantasy in that sense. Like they make it way too easy to not be invested in the story.
Yeah.
Whereas Final Fantasy, you feel almost like guilty for skipping.
Well, this is the thing. In WoW, it is passive to skip the story. In Final Fantasy, you have to actively skip the story. And I think that's the difference. If something is locking you into like hey, here's some quest text, you have to press escape, skip cutscene, and then it goes to black screen, you have to wait, and then it's more steps. So you just I'll just watch it. It's clicking. Like let's just watch it through. It keeps you engaged in it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me as well, like absolutely agree. I think as well, funny thing with the art style is I went back and I watched I was watching a Bellular video the other day, and he showed like a little cutscene bit between two of the main characters in an in-game cutscene. It wasn't a cinematic; it was a cutscene, and I looked at it and it was like, whoa, the art style is weird. Like my eye has just adjusted to the FF art style so much that now I've gone back and looked at WoW and I'm like, whoa, this is weird. Like the vibrant colors is like, my eyes have adjusted, so that's been kind of funny looking back at WoW after this time. But one big thing, like the main thing for me that I've adjusted to quite quickly is sort of the pacing. Like I'm surprised how I don't feel overwhelmed. There's 10 years of content in this game, right? But I don't feel out of my depth. I don't feel a need to rush. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I'm sort of just looking at the content in the future and going, oh, that's great that there's something to look forward to. Oh, that's great that I'm going to have something upcoming. And I think this has been the most like, the biggest revelation that I've had in Final Fantasy is just, it's not going anywhere. because you know that they're
Yeah.
keeping all the content relevant, whereas there's that feeling of in WoW, hey, I have to be there for this raid tier, because if I
Yeah.
don't, then I'm going to fall behind, and then in a few
And the
months it's going to
crunch.
be irrelevant. And if I don't have, curve day one, not even week one, day one, if I don't curve day one, if I don't kill the
Can't play
last
the
boss on
game.
heroic by
Yeah.
day one, then I'm not going to get invited to groups, and then I'm going to fall behind. I'm not going to have the raid IO score, and like I'm missing out. And you feel that kind of, I need to rush and consume the content as quickly as possible. But in this, I'm like, hey, I'm doing coils, and then when I get to Heaven's Ward, I'm going to do all the optional dungeons, and I'm going to do all that, and then I'm going to do any of the... I think I get extremes or savages or something in Heaven's Ward. So it's been so beautiful to just know, like, I'm not behind. I'm not in a rush. That's
exactly.
sort of fascinating.
And because, like, you do have the syncing and the scaling, like, you can take it literally as long as you want, whereas in WoW, it's, as you said, like, you're going to miss a tier if you take too long to level up, and then also because that's just how the player base has been cultured to it as well. Everyone rushes you, like all your friends will be like rushing you to get to max. Whereas, if anything, I've been encouraged not to rush in this game. It's like literally like uncover every. Like, I think we touched on it last episode as well. Like turn every stone and like look for ways to get distracted. I'm
Turn
pretty
every
good at getting
crystal.
distracted. Turn every crystal. Lick every crystal.
Lick every crystal.
And yeah, it's just nice to not feel pressured, because the game's not going anywhere, like you said. And if anything, they're just going to build on it. And I might not even play Dawn Trail till 2025. Who knows? Depends how long it takes me to get there, but that's fine. And then maybe I'll finish Dawn Trail and there's a new expansion, and I'll get to play that one with everyone at the same time. So
yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about that. Like, I'm sort of in this boat where I feel like there's enough time for me to be ready for Dawn Trail if I'm somewhat intelligent. Like, I'm not gonna touch a single ultimate until I finish Endwalker. Like, it's way too big a time investment.
Really?
There's no... Yeah, because I think it could be a really long and depth... You haven't seen UCOB, bro? Go watch UCOB. It's an 18-minute fight, Russ. 18-minute fight. Like, that's going to take some time to learn, and it is very strict. I said about the combat where, like, you can't freestyle? You cannot freestyle that fight. That is coordinated,
I kind of want to get
degree.
one ultimate done just to prove that I am a gamer. Because I have promised 105 ultimate kills.
Don't bother, bro. Don't bother.
I've promised 105 ultimate kills, and I should at least get one under my belt to be like, I wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like, Russ, you're 100% not going to make it for the start of Dawn Trail, but there's a chance that I could. You know what I mean? Like, there's a chance that I might. So I think if we're both in the lifeboat right now, I should be the one that gets saved. Women, children, and Psybear first. Russ, you just kind of hang around.
I'll be Leo. You can have the plank of wood. Yeah.
Rose. Yeah. That's my Leonardo impression. Thank you very much, everyone. Yeah, I want to sort of blitz it for Dawn Trail because I love the beginning of that feeling in WoW when a new expansion launches and it's expansion night and you get all your little snacks, you book the day off stream, and you're there like ready to go when the servers come up and you're stoked and there's global release and everything, and you just know the biggest thing is that everyone's going to experience the same content as you at that exact moment, and there's something just so exciting about that. And I know that if I don't do it by Dawn Trail, then I'm going to have to wait another 2 years or so. So I'd love to do it for Dawn Trail, but at the same time, I'm not going to sacrifice a good time, because if you're already having a good time at one party, there's no point leaving that because there's another party going on that might also be a good time. You're already having a good time at this one, so...
Less walking.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I don't think I'll make it in time for Dawn Trail, but at the same time, I also don't really mind because at least my streamer brain doesn't mind, because I feel like a lot of people will be not like, they don't want to, like, if you get ahead of them, they won't want to watch a stream.
Yeah, apparently people don't watch streamers at the release of like new expansions because they want to watch it first. The streamers don't do the story. Apparently they just level the new jobs and stuff. Yeah
exactly. So I'm absolutely okay with that. Like, I'm sure by the time the expansion after Dawn Trail comes out, I'll be up, maybe up to that point.
I think you will be.
Yeah, that's in what, like another 3 years time.
Yeah.
So it should be all right by then. But yeah, I reckon at that
People
point,
are putting cope in my chat. Okay, it's one guy, but still, it's so funny.
2035, Rust starts Dawn Snail.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like my streamer brain kind of does that, and I've noticed that as well. Even doing like WoW expansions as well. Actually, doing those midnight releases on stream has been a bit like felt a little bit empty. Like
I don't like them.
Game, but like I'm enjoying the game, but I don't feel like there's anyone there to enjoy it with me because everyone's kind of just like dialed in doing their own thing, and no one's really. Like,
I hate the WoW rush on a launch. I hate the rush to max level. I hate just like what I want to do. And you know what I'm going to do the next time WoW has a launch? I'm going to read every bit of quest text. I want to learn the whole lore. I'm going to stop. I'm going to read it out loud. Like, something that Final Fantasy has given me is confidence in myself to just say, look, fuck it.
Slow it
just
down.
got demonetized again. Unlucky. But, like, fuck it. If people don't want to watch me read through the story and learn the lore and they're not interested, then fuck them. I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to have a really good time. Like, because I hate that I'm playing Dragonflight, and I have no idea what's going on with the lore. I just know that there's some dragons doing some... There's old dragons and there's new dragons, and why rush, you know? Yeah, so...
Yeah.
It's really
and
good.
I know Preacher's taken that on board as well, because I remember towards the beginning of Dragonflight, he said like, oh yeah, we've done, leveled up. I've done every side quest in the game. And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
And now I can see why. Like, it's just like these little storylines and stuff. And he gets that probably from how he's played Final Fantasy as well.
100%.
I think I'll do that. I'll do that going forward with WoW, if I play the new expansions and stuff like that. And then also, any game really, any like story-driven game. Like I kind of want to try doing maybe like The Witcher 3 at some point, and I feel like that could be a good just kind of like, it's like an open world exploration with a good narrative from what I've heard. So
yeah,
I'd like to try that one as well, and kind of just going with the same kind of mindset.
You know what you should do? You should finish Witcher 3 before you finish Realm Reborn. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I think you could get away with it.
I don't know. Maybe if I did one stream a week and then I only leveled up jobs in the game. Yeah, I've got people smudging about the idea of that.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is, years ago or even this year for Dragonflight when it launched, I would have gone, because I did sort of want to do that. I wanted to take my time. I wanted to go through the story and read every bit of quest text, and I was like, no, viewers won't like that. And you know what it's made me feel like? I feel like Principal Skinner when he's like, it's not me who's wrong, it's the children, it's the children who are wrong. That's how I feel. Yeah, if I want to read every single quest and do every single optional quest in WoW on an expansion launch, I'm going to do that. And if people don't want to watch it, they're the ones that are wrong, not me. And Final Fantasy viewers in the community has made me realize that, so I really appreciate that. Did you have anything else you want to say on that, Russ, or can I jump to the next little...
You can jump ahead. Yeah.
So, we kind of touched, the game doesn't feel like a sense of urgency like WoW does and stuff. But one big thing is I've already felt like a connection to the developers, which sounds kind of weird. And I'm sure you probably feel that more than me now because you've watched No Clip. And I was watching part of your stream, and then you started to watch the Koji. Like, Koji was talking about something, but I tuned out because I was like, I don't want to know. I don't want to see what's going on. But there just seems like there's so much more integration of the developers, or you can see that guiding hand of the developers. Something that's nice is, I mean, Matcha, who's one of my mods and I know watches both of our streams. Matcha got put in horny jail because they had a little adventure plate which was not kosher, and so they got reported by a GM, and like the GM was there in front of them, like talking to them, and like you can see the hand of the developer and the designer, and I class the GM as a developer, as an active part in the contribution towards the game. So you're seeing them there, and then the Rise event, the Rising right now with the whole event, and like you've done that, right?
I've done it, yeah. Yeah,
so there's like Yoshi P's there, and there's developer notes, and you can actually read their notes that are around, and you just feel like they're there with you. And I love that. And seeing Yoshi P on stage at FanFest reminded me of Chris Metzen. It reminded me of that feeling of just that person coming out on stage, and you're going, this guy's not in it for the money.
Passion.
This guy's here for the passion. I mean, Yoshi P comes on stage and says, I will die before I finish making this game. That's the kind of Chris Metzen energy that I love seeing in Final Fantasy. So have you felt that as well?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say like after watching the no clip stuff, I feel like it reminded me a lot of like the OG WoW devs team, but there's only Chris Metzen left, and he even left because
And then
of
he came back, yeah.
everything, and he came back recently, but he's the literal last. So before he came back, they had zero of the absolute old team, and
Hmm.
like the old guard. So I've seen a couple of documentaries about Blizzard, and it reminded me a little bit. There was some similarities that you could draw with the no clip stuff there. um they just cared about the game. It was like them just like reminiscing about oh, remember when we wrote all these stupid quests, like when I made the Green Hills Stranglethorn quest, and it was just like really funny because we just needed like some filler stuff. And like it reminded me a little bit of just like when Koji's talking about that stuff and translating all the quests and like putting in the little jokes and stuff like that. So it definitely feels similar there, and yeah, like you said, it just feels like they're full of passion, and they care. And again, with the whole like GM thing, like it's a physical being in front of you. Like if a GM's sitting in a call center or whatever answering tickets, why shouldn't they be logged into the game and do it face to face?
Yeah.
Like what? There's no extra skin off their back in that sense, right? Like if they're sitting there typing into an MSN box, like an IM box, or
Yeah.
if they're sitting there talking to you in whispers in the game, like it's the same thing. They just need to like click a little button to TP to the customer, right? And it makes it all that more like personal and memorable as well. Like, who remembers the last ticket? I mean, the last time I actually got a one-on-one, like, actual live chat with the GM in WoW must be years ago at this point. But
Yeah.
like, it used to have them like whisper you in game, and now it's like they'll wait for you. It's almost like they wait for you to log off, and then they're like, "Oh, sorry, we couldn't do anything about it. Bye." And then
Oh,
they
just
close
missed
it.
you. Yeah, like the delivery
Yeah,
guy who kind of just like lightly tap, and
yeah.
then he's like sprinting
Yeah,
away from your
he's
house.
waiting in his car for you to go out, and he's
Yeah.
like, "I ding dong, oh go go." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they do a lot of that kind of nonsense, and they close your ticket, and you have to reopen it like 8 times, and you get
Yeah.
8 different GMs like giving their take on it, and it's like, why can't I just talk to one person who actually
Yeah.
was okay with talking to me and stuff? Like I used to have, I had a really nice chat with a GM a couple years ago. Probably the last time I had an actual interaction with a GM that was in real time. And you know, I was like stuck on a quest in WoW, and I told them about it. They helped me with it, and then I was just like, oh yeah, I mentioned like, oh yeah, on stream the other day we got stuck and stuff, and then they were like, oh, what's your stream? And I was like,
Russ
okay,
100% just slams it. Like, thanks for the support. Slams his Twitch link 3 times.
like they just asked, and I was like, oh, it's this, right? And then like as I was like, okay, maybe they're just gonna like randomly like lurk in later or something just to see. And then like they were literally watching my VOD like as I was talking to them, and they were helping me with my quest. And then they were
Yeah.
like, so did you shave the mustache or not? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, you were talking about in the VOD about shaving your mustache off. Maybe I was like, yeah, or like, no, I'm saving it for this or something. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you should. And then I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
you look like
And then
shit,
like
buddy.
they came into my stream like for like the next like 6 months or more. And like I obviously could recognize the name and I knew who they were, but I was like keeping it on the down low and stuff. But it was like
Yeah, you
cool,
don't want
like,
to out them as a GM there in the
yeah,
chat. Yeah.
exactly. But like I remember just being like, that was like a cool little thing. Like they actually took an interest in a player. Like, who am I to them or anything like that, right? Like
Yeah.
that's just a small streamer. So it's really nice. Like,
Just Russ.
yeah, just Russ. Just Russ
Russ.
doing his thing. Just doing his thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like just having that personal level is really nice little touch.
Yeah, for sure. Right, cool. I think Russ. So I've got
So
one more. Like, I've got like a fun question. You know, we both bring a fun question. I don't know if you have one today, but it's no worries. If not, it's just like a little extra thing. But I've got a little fun question. I'm gonna give you. Meanwhile, if chat would like to start sending us their questions for the Q&A, of course, people in game will take some from in game as well, so you can like raise your hand and wave at us when we start the Q&A, or maybe we could even have a queue system, like people can start lining up like it's a convention, right? That could be kind of cool.
Like
We get somebody in like the in some of these little like corridors here.
guy.
Yeah, like a red shirt guy. Maybe like Jordan, you could people just start lining up and just be smart with it. Use Final Fantasy like clock positions and just everyone line up in front of Let's Vitamin. If you would like to ask a question, that'd be amazing. But Russ, my question for you is, if you could give one piece of advice to a new player for new player to Final Fantasy, what would it be?
My advice would be to go in with absolutely zero expectations and like a massively open mind, really. And just be willing to take it as it is, one step at a time. Don't rush, especially if you're going over from WoW or anything like that. Completely drop everything you know about WoW, well, not everything, but like everything you know about WoW and leveling and all that stuff, and just play it like a not a single player game, but play it. I don't know, like a single player game, like
Like a
story driven game
journey.
kind of thing.
Just like
Like a
yeah,
journey, yeah, yeah,
journey,
yeah.
an
Like
adventure, yeah.
yeah, honestly, I reckon the journey is like at least 50% on this game. I'd imagine. I bet there's people that get to the end of the story and they log out and they don't log back into a new expansion. I'd imagine a lot of people play like that. You know, and everything. I'd say like the end game almost treat it like an extra. It depends on the person, obviously, but yeah, just going completely open minded. Like I just dropped every expectation possible, and I was like, I'm not gonna like I make my comparisons here and there and stuff, but I don't, you know, I don't like talk. Well, I talk bad about WoW, but
What?
I I make some comparisons here and there, but I try not to let it like influence my enjoyment. You know, I just kind of mention it as we go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Mm.
I think I'm very much the same. Like Preach, I think made a great video in terms of just playing MMOs and what to kind of the mindset to go into them with. I think just going in with no expectations is really good, and understand that the new game that you're going to be playing, whether it be Final Fantasy or if you try Guild Wars 2 or RuneScape or WoW, whatever it may be, just don't assume that it's going to be the same. Like people that go and try and play WoW and expect it to have the same fluidity of the story of FF is like, well, it's not going to be like that, but you can still experience a good story just in a different way. You know, yada yada, but you know, don't go into it with any preconceptions. Same with Final Fantasy. Don't come into it and be like, oh, this is, you know, oh, this combat's slow. It's like, well, yeah, but at 90, when you've got
Yeah.
a dozen off GCDs and you've got 4 different combos that you're trying to weave in and overlay, and then you're doing all the mechanics, then it'll
Mm.
be good, you know? So that's what I always say is, you know, if you're used to playing WoW and you're used to playing like, you know, if you're level 25 in the stockades, it's not exactly super engaging, right? Just like if you're in
Yeah.
Final Fantasy and you're level 30, of course that's not the highest complexity, highest difficulty content and all that stuff. Like, it's a journey and you have to, you know, appreciate where you're at relative to the thing as a whole. But yeah, awesome. Are you cool to jump into the Q&A?
Yeah, I just wanted to say on top of your point, like they're different games for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So like take them for what they are and don't try and draw all these comparisons all the time like, oh, it's not this. Like if you're looking for X, go play X, you know?
Yeah.
Like don't come to Y expecting Y.
FFXIV. Am I right, chat? Am I
Hey!
right? Whoa! Yeah, for sure. Sorry.
Yep.
I
All
gotta
good.
stop interrupting you. I don't mean to do that, but, you know.
Yeah, you do. I did it enough to you on our other stuff. That was because of delay.
Yeah, that was good delay. There was a slide casting with the conversation. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right. We'll start some of these questions. I don't know if people here physically have too many. I think we only have one person that I'm seeing on screen lined up, so we can grab the first question from the person here. That's, you know, it's kind of
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
that we really have everybody form a line, okay? Don't rush, don't
One
panic.
person
You
stands up
know,
in the front
one
row.
person.
I've got a few in my chat
Yeah,
we can
same,
do
same,
so.
same. All right, Haruka, what is your question for me or Russ? It could be either or both or neither or what?
No, that's just a statement.
Yeah, just statement. You guys suck. I've heard that Final Fantasy 14 players are secretly kindergartners. Where does that originate from? There are a lot of you know, kindergartner. That's a German word. There are a lot of Germans that play Final Fantasy. I think that might be where that comes from. What do you think, Russ?
Are you talking about Lalafels? Or...
Bro, I got no idea. I feel like it's a loaded question. I got no clue, Chief.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. I think it is a troll one
Yeah, I think that
potentially.
might be a troll one, but I managed to flip it quite well.
Yeah, I did see a cool one in your
Yeah, go for
chat
it.
though.
Go for it.
One in your Twitch chat.
Hmm.
Are you guys? How are you guys feeling with like your character? Does it feel personal? I hear a lot of disconnect with players and their characters in WoW players. I phrased that wrong, but I think it was I tried to rephrase it. But yeah, like
yeah,
how
it
do you
ended up
feel?
being longer than the
Okay,
original.
okay. How do you? Okay, I'll try and now that I've digested it, I'll try and rephrase it. How do you feel about your personal connection with your character in Final Fantasy? Because quite often there is a bit of a disconnect between players and their characters in WoW. I assume that's because you play a lot of different characters in WoW, whereas in Final Fantasy you have all your jobs on one, right?
Yeah, sure.
So how do you feel about that?
See, I actually feel incredibly connected to my WoW character. Like, it's something
suppose
that
you're
I've
a
had
one-trick, aren't you?
for... Yeah, I'm a one-trick, so I'm known as... I'm a noteworthy person, if you didn't know that, Russ. Did you know that?
I saw a little clip and now I see you milking it, yeah.
I've milked nothing, okay? Look, as Asmongold said, Psybear is a noteworthy person, okay? I'm merely just
And the
letting
panda
people
pushed it a little
know,
bit. Yeah.
okay? No, that's what he
And then he was
said.
like, "Oh yeah, Psybear, yeah."
What's funny
That
about
was
that
it.
clip, actually, a little tangent, but what's funny about that clip about Asmongold saying, that guy you were talking about, and then Panda goes, Psybear, and he goes, Psybear. Yeah, he's a noteworthy person in the community. What's funny about that clip, the reason I find it so funny and I keep bragging about it, is because I interviewed Asmongold and he clearly doesn't remember because he forgot my name. So it's the ironic, Russ. That's why it's funny. Because he's saying I'm a notable person at the same time he's forgotten who I am. That's why it's funny. So as you're
He
saying,
has,
yes.
yeah. He's completely forgotten the time you interviewed him for an entire hour.
It was 2 hours, actually.
2 hours.
Yeah, so... so...
He's like, "Oh
yeah.
yes, Psybear, yeah."
Yeah, you ever have a
He's an ugly
2 hour
guy.
conversation with someone and they forget about you? Yeah, it feels bad, bro.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm like attached to my character because I've been playing it for years, and so I do
Yep.
feel like an attachment to my character because I don't just reroll. But I definitely agree. Like in Final Fantasy, it feels like because everything's locked onto that one character, you do have that attachment. And I've actually started to care about things like glamour and mounts and stuff. Mainly because people don't stop giving me things. I have to care, right, legally.
Yeah.
But also, it's just like it's all there on one, which is really nice. But no, I still feel attachment to my WoW character.
See, I do on a couple of them, but mainly because of the memories I've had on that specific character, right? But there is that disconnect for me. So I used to play Hunter quite a lot, and like I remember I used to do all that extra stuff, like grind the reputations, like the old reputations. I liked filling up those bars and like seeing all the green bars and like exalted
Yeah.
reputations and stuff. And then every time, like as I got a bit more into raiding, I'd end up having to potentially switch character every now and then for like a raid tier, maybe like
Yeah,
for some
that's true,
of the
actually.
month,
This is true.
and it would like reset all my progress on like my reputations. And like yes, I have them all on that other character, but then it's like okay, well I kind of want to play on my main, right? So I'm going back and doing reputations on that, and then I have it all split over all these different characters and stuff. And it's nice in Final Fantasy that all my memories will be like all my memories and progress and everything will be collected into one place. Um, it will all be because I can just change job. Like boom, you just double click a gear set, or you just have it on a hotbar, and boom, like now I'm a mage, now I'm a hunter. Like if it was like that in WoW, I'd have less like my character called Russ,
Neither of
and
those
then
jobs exist, by the way. In
no, but yeah,
well,
okay,
sort of.
sorry, yeah, like now I'm a summoner, now I'm a
Thank
warrior
you,
kind of
Russ.
thing, right?
Yeah, thank you.
I fixed it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's all like contained into one nice little place, and like again, the disconnect happens as well because like I've done loads of different raid tiers on loads of different mains in WoW as well, right? So I can be like, oh yeah, I remember Tomb of Sargeras, I played Druid, and then but like that's my Druid's memories, and then I
Yeah.
have like okay, but this tier I played Hunter, and this tier I played Demon Hunter, and this tier I played Mage. So like I can be like fond of my mage in a different way that I'm fond of another character, and it's very like I have 4 or 5 characters that I care about, and then like 7 that I don't really, but I just have them because I have every class leveled up and stuff. Whereas like in Final Fantasy, I'm really looking forward to being like, oh yeah, like it's all in my one character, but like I played that job for this thing, I played that job for that thing, I did
Yeah.
this thing on that, and it's all in one place. I really like the idea of that. So I think it will bring like
Yeah.
I'll be like really like by the end of even now I already feel connected to my character. Because you know.
Yeah, the one that you
it's been,
fantasiaed 8 times in 2 weeks. Yeah, you
twice,
feel connected
twice.
to that character.
Like
Yeah.
I've been a Lalafell and I've been a Aura, and I'm probably gonna, I might put up a sub goal for Femro or something. We'll see. um, but yeah, like I thought about doing just like everything is. I've already been through like thick and thin with the character. I know that like I'm not gonna really like I might make an NA all at some point, right? But
Yeah.
most of my stuff is gonna be contained on like this character forever,
Yeah.
which just feels really nice.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Mm.
Same. You made a good point as well with like reputation stuff on like WoW. You get something really cool, and then you log onto a different character, and you don't have that anymore. Yeah, I definitely feel that disconnect for sure. Do we? By the way, do we have? Is Ellie and Feline? Are you lining up for questions, or are you just standing there? Like, are people in game have questions? Because I'm trying to alternate as well. Russ, I don't know if you had anyone in your chat as well that also has a question. Like, I'm trying to hit as many as we can.
I have a couple, yeah. I have a couple. Like, do you have an MMO mouse? Yes, yes, I do.
I don't.
But
I don't. I have a Logitech G403. Logitech, if you want to reach out and sponsor me, feel free to. It's a fantastic mouse.
Yeah, Ellie Kane did do a nod, so I think these guys are lining up for questions. Yeah.
Sure. Should we jump from Ellie Kane then?
Yeah.
Go for it, Ellie. And you can read it out, Russ, if you'd like. Go for it, man.
Okay, I shall. I'll redeem myself.
Yeah.
Reading was not my strong suit in the previous question, apparently. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna scour while they type it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
there it is. Yeah.
What would be considered your favorite and your least favorite thing in the game so far? It can be anything from story, mechanics, community, jobs. Only one thing for each, though. I think it would be good to take note of so that we can take a retrospective after you're caught up, and it would be fun to look back on this. So, what's considered our favorite and least favorite thing now, and then when we get to end of breakpoint, yeah.
Okay.
So was it story, mechanics, community, jobs? I mean, I'm only like partial on all of those things, so I haven't like quite finished, my part of the story and stuff. Community for me is one thing from each, or just pick one. I guess one thing from each, right?
Yeah, one of your one favorite, one least favorite.
Right. Okay, well for me, like community is by far like kind of carrying my experience, but I get that it's a stream like definitely amplified by the fact that I'm streaming. Just seeing the world being alive and seeing the players like coming and hanging out and stuff in game has been like really nice. Just seeing things happening like out in the world, like random bands of bards playing and stuff like that. And I think you mentioned it in one of your videos a while back, like Justruss that sits in Spriggan in Limsa.
Yeah.
Like just like having like the community just kind of like almost like make something of it for themselves. Like they take it upon themselves to like become a noteworthy person. Like Jesus is a noteworthy person in Limsa and Spriggan, and stuff like that. Just that kind of aspect. I don't feel like I can really, at least not to my knowledge, like maybe I'm just unaware, but I don't feel like many people do that in WoW. It's just they're kind of like existing and standing AFK and stuff.
Something that I think is part of that with Final Fantasy is the lack of phasing. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, in WoW you are on a server, but you get like there's sharding and there's phasing, and they're two different things. But basically, not everyone that's in front of you is like, not everyone in front of you is the whole server there. So you might go into like a main city and you will get a different group of people there on one day than you would on another day or at a different time, when in theory all groups of those people might have been there at the exact same time. I think that's a really bad way of how I've just presented it. But basically, when you go into Final Fantasy, when you go into Limsa, you see the people that are there on your server if they're there. Whereas on WoW, people might be present, but you don't see them. They're on a different shard, which means that you just get this kind of disjointed. You don't see the same people there every time, so you don't get to form those connections. There's like 20 people I could name that I just regularly see and go, oh, it's that person. Oh, it's that. And I've never spoken to them, but they're just there. Ran into my little brother the other day in Limsa, and he was just sitting there as a Lalafell. He like fantasia'd, and we were laughing. And I was like, oh my god, was he like, you know? It's just a nice little interaction. People came around as well, and it's just really funny. But yeah, sorry, as you were saying.
Oh well, no, I kind of finished my point on that really. But yeah, like going to what you just said as well. It's like a chatter I think in both our stream, Mayhen, and I met them, well, unaware, met them in like Limsa on like my first time I went there, because they were like standing there, and I was like, oh my god, this person has got like wearing a bit of a cheeky glam, probably gonna have like a bit of a sussy plate, right? And then like 2 days later, like they were in my glam contest and actually won, and I was like, oh. And then like 2 weeks later after that, I like made a video which had them in as well, from the first time I went to Limsa, and then I got a YouTube comment saying like, oh, that's Mayhem, they're an absolute giga gamer, like I've been raiding with them for years. I'm just like,
oh, that's so cool.
Small worlds, right? Like there's like 3 instances where the same person has like come up in like multiple people's minds, so it's really cool.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. That's awesome, right? And for people that are saying like, why can't you, like, what's the deal with WoW? They try and do it to limit server issues. So you know how like on launch in Final Fantasy you can't play for a month, and that's a big meme. That's what Blizzard has implemented to prevent that from being a thing. So like we get smooth launches and patch content, sort of. There's still issues. There's always going to be issues when a new game comes out. Like no matter what game company it is, there's always issues. But they try and limit that stuff. But like you're saying in chat, it limits the interactivity, and that's something that's beautiful about classic WoW and Final Fantasy. Is like the people that are there, and you can see someone at level 10, and you can see them again at level 30, and then again at like 40, and you just see them along the journey, and you might end up bumping into them in a random like dungeon group, and you don't know them, but you have this sort of connection, you know, like in the anime where the 2 main characters, it's like they fall in love, and then their memories are wiped or some shit, and they disappear, and then like they go back to their different realms, and then like but they still feel each other, you know, and they still have that like connection. You know what I'm talking about? It happens in every single anime I've ever seen.
They feel each other's side, do they?
Yeah, they have that connection. They both like turn around even though they don't know each other, and then they like feel something. Come on. That's what it feels like when you see these people. I don't watch anime, you can probably tell. But that's what it feels like. My girlfriend watches a lot of Korean dramas, and that seems to happen in all of them.
You're watching hentai.
I'm watching, maybe. I can feel you. All 8 of the tentacles. So, yeah, for me, like, sorry, I lost my point because I just got distracted. Sorry. But no, it wasn't you. It was someone in my chat. But that's what I feel like in classic WoW and Final Fantasy. That's what I was trying to say, sorry. Because you don't have the sharding, you don't have the phasing. So it maintains, like, MMO aspects are remained intact. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
Did you do both of yours?
I did. I talked about community. I don't really have, like, anything that I would say is, like, my least favorite now. I mean...
All right, I can hit you with one.
Combat would be my thing. Yeah, go for it.
Tab targeting. What do you think?
Oh, okay, yeah, that one is rough. But the other day, someone recommended I go to like Cone.
No, it doesn't, Ross. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
So far, it's been better. It's been better. But yeah, the nameplates in combat have not been my best friend. Let's be honest. Like if I right click them, like when I'm in combat as well, I'm in like right click mode. And if I right click them, I feel like they're less responsive than if I left click them, which is really annoying. I think it's the same actually in WoW, but just counterintuitive. Like I'm trying to right click them to attack, like, you know, press right click, stuff go attack, you know, from
and then it brings up a menu option, and you're like, nah, I'm trying to fight this guy, and
yeah,
it's a whole thing. Have you tried Legacy movement yet? Actually,
for like 5-10 minutes.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I mean, I was like, I'd have to get used to it. I can see the practical use and how it'd be good, and I think it'd be really good for like if you play on controller for sure.
Yeah.
But on keyboard, like it feels a bit backwards to me. Like I like being able to like turn my camera and strafe and stuff instead of do that. But I'd have to get used to it because I think it probably is better. Like you're moving places quicker and turning your character quicker and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's like a whole different dimensions of like camera movements and stuff compared to what I'm used to. So I've just
Yeah.
gone with classic now, and I've rebound my strafe keys to like A and D and play it like WoW at the moment.
I played one boss in Coils, one of the last. I think it was T13. I played T13 with one hand for a pull, and we got it down to like 40% or something. And I played with one hand, and legacy movement actually made it possible. So that was kind of cool. So the legacy movement's good for that. But no, I like legacy. It's actually I kind of like it.
When I tried it,
yeah.
people were recommending I do the combo because like Dragoon has that backflip combo, the backflip ability that takes you back, the one that sends everyone off the edge and stuff. And they were like, okay, well, do this thing like press S so your character turns, and then press the backflip and you'll fly forwards. Like so.
Oh
you can,
yeah,
so
we
you
had
press,
some
press
issues
your
with that with
character would
Hacky.
turn and then fly forward, but like your character doesn't turn instantly. It like it has like a turning circle. It like has to physically turn. So if you just press S and then immediately press your thing, your character's only made it like 20 degrees around the 180.
Yeah, and you just fly off to.
Then you just fly off to like some random direction that you're not meaning to go. So it would take some getting used to. I could see the practical uses being pretty good.
Yeah, skill diff. Right. Now my turn. So one thing. What was the question? My favorite. One thing. Your favorite thing and least favorite thing. Okay. So my favorite thing in the game has been blind progging coils. It's the most fun I think I've had in a video game in a very long time. Probably the most fun I've ever had, like raiding. It's been really, really cool. I'm glad it's over, in like a nice way. Like I've had my time with it, and I'm ready to move on to the next thing. But I think hands down it was my favorite thing. Just specifically the blind prog, and then my least favorite thing is. I don't know that I have like a really big jarring thing that I dislike. I mean, mine's probably just like tab targeting. I know people say like, oh, you can do this, watch this on like movement and this and that, but it's still it just like doesn't feel great. There is that finickiness, like getting used to the movement, but I think we'll get used to it and stuff. So that's like my least favorite thing, but it's not the end of the world for me. It's also not relevant in a lot of content because you're normally just fighting one boss at a time. But that's for me. Right.
Someone in my chat just said hopefully he goes back to Mini for the bosses he skipped. I think that's at you.
Wait, I didn't skip any bosses. We did all the bosses.
You turned off the Mini, did you?
Yeah, at times when we so we progged every fight with blind and with midnight level. But when I'm streaming and I have 7 other people to consider, right? And we go into a boss and we have 4 people that are different in the raid comp than the one that we progged with, and we spent 5 hours progging the day before, like on a Friday, and now it's Monday, and I've not streamed since then, so there's been 3 days that have passed. We have 4 players that have not stepped into the fight yet. We've had to, replace half our team, and then you want to re-prog what you've already done, and then people are starting to argue with each other about shit. Like, just move on to the next boss. It's, I don't have anything to...
I'm with you.
Like, I don't have anything to prove, so I don't know if somebody was saying that as, like, a joke. I mean, I just had to ban...
I assume so.
Well, my mods just had to ban someone in chat. I don't know if they were trying to cause a problem. So I don't know if it's, like, someone trying to, like, have a dig, or if they're just messing around. If they're just messing around, like, it's fine, but... To cover my bases, that's why we did...
Banned, yeah.
Oh, is it the same person? Okay, yeah, so they're trying to, like, I don't know, say that I'm not very good at a 10-year-old child's video game or something. I mean, who cares? But... I got nothing to prove, but that's why we turned it off on some bosses, but the majority of the bosses we did completely blind mine, and the ones that really count, the last 2, we smashed out the park. So, I mean...
I'm with you, like, I mean, there's no point either of us, like, sitting there for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
I'd stuck with, like, roster boss and stuff like that, right? Like, we want to put the content on, but there's a time where, like, people will get bored of that. And
you got to think about the 7 other people, right? Like, I could, me and you, we can play the game 8 hours a day and not get tired, right? But not everyone's going to be up for that. So you got to think about other people as well. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So there you go.
But yeah, it's pretty nice that we're struggling to find negative things to.
Yeah, I don't really have much negative at the moment.
I don't have like a least favorite thing. Like tab targeting is a good one, but it's only come up a couple times where I've been like, oh, that's really frustrating. But other than that, like mostly I haven't really needed to because I just press my AoE ability anyway, and it goes in like a line. I think there is a lot of like options that maybe this is like a slight one, I guess. There's a lot of like options to customize. It's a good thing, but I think it's slightly like new player unfriendly a little bit as well. Like there's all these like really small things like when you press an ability, your character like turns towards the enemy, and you can turn that off so that it's like based on your camera, so
Yeah.
you can direct things with your camera or your character, and there's all these like small little things.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's so many menus like you mentioned earlier that like each one has its own separate menus within, and there's a lot of customization you can do. It probably take to properly set up everything how you want. It probably would take a couple hours, but it works pretty good out the box, I'd say. So,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't really have like. I mean, somebody in chat just said, "What do you think about like the ARR voice acting?" I mean, if anything, I'd just like to see more voice acting. But I'm totally
yeah.
cool with the voice actors themselves. I mean, I don't think they do a bad job. I think it's probably just different from what you get later down the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, should we move on to the next question?
Yeah, they can hire me with my voice changer anyway, so
Oh yeah,
I'll go and redo all the ARR voices for them if they really want. I'll do
they
it for
they
free.
in the post patch content. There's actually a lot more voice acting than you get in base ARR. So it
Yeah.
seems they clearly got like a big bump in budget for that bit. So that's good. Should we grab another one from in game, or do you have one in your
Yeah.
chat that's outstanding? I don't want to like
Um.
upset people with ignoring them.
Yeah, we can
Maybe if you got like a quick one from your chat,
take
we could do a
a
quick one from chat each, and then next one in game.
yeah. Do an in-game one. Like Feline Dion can type it up and stuff, and then we'll
Yeah, they can type
just
it
have it
up
there.
whilst we answer a quick one. Somebody
Yeah.
asked me, oh god, where is it gone now? What do you think about the casual friendly policy of 14, especially coming from a more competitive atmosphere of WoW? I think it depends on how you play the game. I think there's competitive and non-competitive areas in both games. For me, I'm somebody who likes all aspects of game. I'm at heart a non-competitive player. I actually start to resent pure competition after a certain amount of time. Like when
Mm.
all anyone cares about is pure like competition and they let other things be sacrificed to fuel that kind of can bother me. Like when everyone's like, oh, is this viable, is this optimal, like what's the best this, what's the best that, like I need to play it, and it's like, bro, you're not playing at a high enough level. That stuff can irritate me after a while. But in Final Fantasy, I've enjoyed trying everything and anything and not feeling like it only has to be competitive, though I'm excited to express my ability to like, I think I play WoW pretty well, and see how well I can do in Final Fantasy will be fun.
Yeah.
But when it comes to WoW, I've actually been afraid to do anything non-competitive for the longest time. When I do go back to playing WoW, I'm definitely going to approach it differently. Like I said, I'm going to read all the quest texts. I'm going to go do like the extra things. So I'm excited about that. And I don't know about you, Russ, in terms of casual,
Yeah.
non-casual.
I kind of echo that. I feel like if
Or
anything,
yeah.
WoW's tried to go too far in that direction with the whole like competitive and esportsification and stuff, to the point where it actually detracts from the casual experience. Like mainly, I think it's mainly a community issue, but it's bred by the fact that it's pushed so much. Um, with like infinite scaling content, and
Yeah.
we talked about weak auras and stuff like that, and it creates like it's a community problem, but it's driven by the fact like the systems that are in the game and stuff, which is down to Blizzard. So the ball is in like everybody's court, I guess, but Blizzard can at least like slightly tailor it. They could they could put some changes down which at least alleviate some pressure, so players in the community don't have to do that. Like for example, you're key depleting an M plus and stuff like that, right? Like why is that a thing? Like why can't I just go again if it fails? Like
100%.
like all that kind of debate, and I'm sure we could get into that like for days at this point, but um all of that just leads to like a bit more of a toxic and casual, like unfriendly experience because it's so punishing that like it does feel, the more and more that I play Final Fantasy, I do feel like the more and more WoW has been disrespecting my time over the years.
Yeah,
Like I knew that
sure.
it was like I have felt like it in like some sense, but I was like maybe coping, like it's not that bad, like we we play it because we want, and like these things happen, and like these systems are in the game. But I do feel now like it's just like a no-brainer just to make it not unfriendly in that sense, and like there's just easy things they could fix to make that open to more players,
Yeah.
including casual players. There's definitely a place for casual play in WoW, but I feel like it almost like from the people that I've spoken to within the Final Fantasy community who used to play WoW, a lot of them have been like, oh, like I tried keys like 1 time or 2 times, and it didn't go well, and I just never tried it again really because it was so punishing, or people raged at me, or this and that, and just like it really like creates that massive divide between the two things, and there's no like real spectrum. It's more like two bins in WoW. Whereas, like,
But
I mean,
yeah, both
maybe
groups
3
in the
bins.
dumpster.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Not to hurry you along, Russ, but I think we need to probably go speed fire round now.
Okay.
Are you
Okay.
cool if we just like rush
Yeah,
through
yeah.
a couple and then kind of see how we go there? Right. So we had Feline saying, "What's your favorite location and music in the game so far?" I'll jump on this and say I love Limsa Laminsa. I love that it's just bright
Course you
all
do.
the time. Oh, of course he does. Naughty
he
boy.
does.
It's beautiful with the sun and the cool ocean air. I like that. I think my favorite music so far is either Pharaoh Sirius. Pharaoh Sirius has really good music. When you get to that dungeon, Russ, it's an optional dungeon, but definitely you should do that. Really good. Do it midnight level and everything as well, and you'll be in there for a little while. But that's fun. The music there is great, but also the T13 music is really good. Really, really good. Hands down. What about you, Russ? Probably Garuda or something?
Garuda was a cool fight, yeah. And the music was good. Titan music was really good as well. And people told me that we killed it. I killed it too quick, even on mini, that it didn't even get to the cool part, apparently. We were that good at gaming. I really like Kothas. When that music drops, it feels really nice. And my favorite music probably is Sid's theme so far.
I can't remember Sid's theme. I need to go back and listen to that.
It's an absolute banger. It's called Dreams Aloft. I put it on my Spotify and stuff.
Oh, okay. I'll go listen.
But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying the music and the zones. I don't know if I have like a favorite zone. Maybe like overall. I don't know, like Kothas.
Is it? Hold on. Is your favorite zone? I think I might know it actually. Is it
the Marauders Guild?
Tube?
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I do like my YouTube.
You do like your YouTube? Yeah.
I do my YouTube.
Hey, we got it,
my favorite place. My favorite place is obviously the Marauders Guild.
Yeah, Is that where you hang out?
Marauders Guild on Spriggan. It's always popping. It's always popping in there.
Right. Next question is Russ. When will you Fantasia to Catgirl?
Catgirl. That's actually not something I've even really like looked at too much. But never say never. I don't know. I'm probably gonna go Bunny Girl and Femro before that.
I want to go Bunny Girl. We should sync up.
Even another round of Lalafell.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. I like it. I'm glad that you are single-handedly keeping Square Enix afloat.
Oh, yeah.
And Ramen Queen, what is your next question? Russ, if you have a quick one from your chat as well, feel free to send it. And anyone in my chat, if I miss any of yours, if they're quick ones, just send them and we'll try and just speed through some of these.
Yeah, chat. Feel free to just fire them away.
Yeah.
Did you say you had one?
No, I don't have one at the moment, but I was going to say, we just, I know how we get where we just end up, we don't stop talking, so we,
yeah,
we've overrun maybe a little smidge, but hey, it's all good stuff. So, right. Ramen Queen is saying, how did you get into MMOs and was WoW your first? Oh, this is like more of a longer one for me. WoW was my first MMO, I think. Either that or RuneScape, but I think it was WoW. I think I went onto WoW, then onto RuneScape because I couldn't afford the sub, and then back to WoW when I could. But I was 10 years old, I was 10. A kid at my church when I lived in America, he had Warcraft 3, and I went to his house one time. Went around to his house, and he was playing Warcraft 3, and he showed me it, and I just immediately was hooked. It was everything I wanted in high fantasy. My imagination as a kid was always high fantasy. I loved orcs, elves. Seeing that original WoW cinematic as well blew me away with the druid turning into the night elf running and just jumping into a panther. Coolest shit I've ever seen. So when Warcraft came out, I remember my friend, his name was Daniel, and he he was like, "Oh, Blizzard's bringing out this new game. It's gonna be Warcraft, but you get to play as an individual character, and you get to like customize your character, and you get to play one of the classes, and you get to explore the world and everything." And I was like, "Bullshit, bro!" I was like, "This is some playground shit." You know, when kids would just lie, and you'd have to act like they weren't just outright talking shit, and you'd have to try and be nice and just be like, "Oh, that's cool, man," but clearly you're bullshitting. And then it turned out to be true. And I remember logging into WoW for the first time, and my brothers were around me. 3 of them, like I've got like 5 siblings, and 3 of my brothers were around me, and they were like making fun of me for thinking this game was gonna be cool because they'd seen me play Warcraft 3, and they were like, whatever.
They all jumped in it.
I go into Teldrassil for the first time as a night elf, and I load in, and the cinematic comes on, and like it hits, and you go and you start killing stuff, and you start to realize this is a real open world. And you look at the map and you're going, holy shit, and it blew me away. So that was my first experience of WoW.
Zooming out.
You keep
like,
zooming out.
Oh my god, how big is this place?
Yeah, but what about for you, Russ?
For me, I'm kind of like on the opposite end of the spectrum, really. Like I never even knew about Warcraft 3 until I'd probably been playing WoW for many years.
Oh,
like,
really?
Okay. I had like no backstory with Blizzard, no backstory with any of the Warcraft universe or anything like that. For me, it was just like I was very much FPS gamer. And I used to play like single player story games, you know, before the world of online really came out when I was a kid. And then I think I hadn't tried any online, any MMO or anything like that. And I went around to one of my friends from school one weekend, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm playing this game called World of Warcraft. I play it with my dad." And you know, like we played together, and he logged in. He was grinding gorillas in Southern Stranglethorn Vale.
Nice. And you were like, "Yo, get me in on this."
The Elder Mistfels, and he was like level 38, and he all I did was sit there on this like goddamn rickety wooden chair, watching him grind gorillas for 2 entire levels, like over the course of like a day or 2. And then I was just like, fucking sick, mate. Like all he was doing was just like killing gorillas. I was just like, wow, this is so crazy. And then he was like showing me all the things. Then he hit level 40. He got his mount, and we were just like, oh my god, this is so cool. Like he's riding around on a tiger, and they like showed me some zones and stuff. And I was like, all right, well, I need to play this. But my parents wouldn't let me get it for a while, so I had to like get my fix by going around to his, and because he played with his dad, they had 2 accounts, so I would like go to his as much as I possibly could, and like I had my own character on like one of his dad's account, I think. So we'd like he made a fresh character, and we'd play alongside that until I finally convinced my parents to get me that. But that's how I got into it. And
that's funny actually, because I used to go around to, obviously this kid that I used to go around to his house, his dad was like the pastor of the church. I don't know if I mentioned that, like it was the church that we like, I knew him, and then we went to church and stuff. But we used to go around to the house, and like they'd have like a Bible study night, and then I'd just be trying to go upstairs to play. Like, oh, hey, should we like warm up before we do our prayers? Should we like go check out what's going on in Azeroth? And then like slowly over time they realized I didn't care really too much about Jesus. I cared more about killing boars in Durotar. So that was always kind of funny having to like convince them to they're like, hey, do you care about the like prayer? And I'm like, not really, but I will kill some boars though, if you don't mind. Right, we should probably power through. What do you say, 2 more quick ones?
We've got
go for it.
You haven't tried Gold Saucer yet, have you?
I have done the Gold Saucer, but I'm not like as like
seasoned
it's
as me.
It's not like I just have a bunch of other stuff that I'm trying to do, and I know the Golden Saucer will always be there, but I will like do more of it when things slow down, when I have like a slow day. But for now, I've just got so many things to do.
Yeah, when you've got a couple minutes, and you know a gate's coming up in a second. You're like, all right, we'll chat. We'll go to the Gold Saucer for like 10 minutes, do a gate. It's just like a nice little. It breaks up the questing a little bit. It's a nice little like stopgap, I guess.
For sure.
I guess as a quick fire one, hardest word that this game made you pronounce? I can't even remember. There's been a lot.
Oh, there's one that always catches me. There's a few characters that always catch me, bro.
Yeah.
Oh god. I had one today, and everyone. It's so funny. Like, I'll try and pronounce like samurai abilities, because like for my rotation, and people are like, oh, the convention is Japanese is that with the E, if it comes after da da da, then it sounds like this. And I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna learn Japanese to play samurai. Like, what are you saying? Like, bro, I'm not, like, I cannot progress my character. I must learn Japanese. Like, that's not happening. Just let me, Kamiyahaha. For any Fortnite players out there, you'll understand that reference. It's not gonna happen. What about for you?
For me, it's Dalmond.
Dalmond?
Dalamud.
Oh, Dalamud.
Yeah.
Dalamud.
But I've been calling it Dalmond for like a month. And now people are just like, classic. The moon almond. And I'm just like, no, it's Dalmond, guy.
Yeah. Well, when I tuned into your stream the other day, you were talking about it, and you couldn't even remember the name of it, so you're just like, oh yeah, the like moony
Moon
thing.
thing.
And then you're like, what's that? And I was like, oh no, somebody in your chat said Dalamud, and you were like, what's that? And I was like,
Yeah,
no.
I was like, what's that?
I was like,
I only know
Russ,
Dalmond.
it's in the sky right there, bro.
I only know Dalmond, dude.
Yeah.
Don't be telling me about Dalamond.
What's a Dalamud? Yeah. How do you feel about?
I said it wrong.
Yeah.
I tried to say it right. I still said it wrong.
How do you feel about someday losing your sprout? Do you have a favorite memory? Yeah, I mean, when the time comes, the time comes. I will miss it. So far, my favorite memory has probably been watching Russ walk into the game at level 1, and being there to greet my hero. That's my favorite one. Yeah, gotta be.
Yeah,
gotta be.
Yeah, I'm gonna my YouTube thumbnails are gonna miss the sparrow icon. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, bro. I actually just say I hate that on YouTube we have to keep feeding the algorithm. WoW player does this with a sprout. Like, it's the worst. I hate it. Do you hate it as well?
I've tried removing it a couple of times, and it always does worse. So I'm like, I have to go back and put it on.
Yeah, it's like I've started messing around with saying shit like WoW athlete, WoW virgin, like whatever. Just throw in like whatever at this point, like. See what sticks.
I've seen you have a Mythic Plus athlete.
Yeah.
WoW player.
Yeah, some guy got really, really upset about that, and I was like, bro, it's clearly not too serious, but
No.
Yeah.
It's just YouTube. Just YouTube.
Yeah, just YouTube. Just how it be. Right. I think, chat, we're gonna have to call it there because we've been going like almost 2 hours now. I think we'll call it there. If you have any more questions, either throw them in our Discords, and we'll try and like feature them first at the next episode, or just make sure you get it for next episode. Before we go, Russ, we do need to, in fact, actually we'll pick the next person for next week, but let's like end the show for like YouTube purposes, and then we can do the after stuff. So thank you very much everyone for watching. This has been Between Two Sprouts, the best place to be in Eorzea. I have been Psybear, and this has been just Russ, and we've had a lovely time. This has been so lovely. Thank you for watching. And scene. All right, fuck that shit. Let's go, baby. All right, yeah, nicely done. Wow, so official, so official. Clap,
wow,
clap,
that
clap.
wasn't robotic.